The other reason that people are leaving is because of just the extra regulations, the extra employment rights. There's a new bill going through under Angela Rayner through the House of Commons here in the UK as we speak, which is going to make it ever riskier employing people. So guess what? Entrepreneurs will stop employing people. And I'll give you the most extreme example, Jay, that I heard just a couple of weeks back in my constituency. In sunny Skegness, a great holiday resort for millions of people and the best value ice cream, and I'm an ice creamaholic. The biggest theme park there, Fantasy Island, in the middle of summer, they're closing for 2 days a week in holiday season because of the cost of energy and because of the cost of the employment laws and the employment costs and national insurance. So by only opening 5 days a week, it means they don't have to have an extra shift of staff. It means that an extra 30 to 35 young people, possibly on their first work after leaving school or college, are not being employed this year. That's give or take 10, 12% of their workforce. The whole thing's a complete catastrophe.
It is, Richard. My background's recruitment. I built a big business and we've recruited thousands. And I've spoken to a lot of small businesses. And Richard, you agree with me. You're a business guy, and we'll touch on the business guys that should be in Parliament, I believe. They're telling me now. So what would happen back in the days? And I'm 46, so I've been in business 20 years. We'd say to a company, look, take a risk. Take this young person, come out of college, take a risk, see how it works out. Maybe go a week with them. I've done the same myself. And do you know what? That 1 week turns into 10 years and this person's an Excel. The problem you've got now, and you'll understand this as a business person, is I'm not taking that risk because from day one, they get the rights. And I'm not saying everybody's bad, but Richard, you always got to go through a lot of people to find the best ones. The problem is Angela Rayner, she doesn't understand because she's never run a business. She doesn't understand the cost of employing, of having someone, the drain, the resources. I'm sure you understand that this is about frustration. We're stopping young people getting opportunity.
Yeah, I completely understand it. And you're hearing it, I'm hearing it every week. People are saying just it's not worth that extra risk because it's all about the risk-reward ratio. And you and I suspect, live in the school of thinking where the biggest risk in life is never taking one. But equally, you take a calculated risk. And if you know that a whole bunch of people on day 2 of arriving at your workplace can suddenly claim all sorts of extra rights, claim that they can go on the sick, claim that they can go on full maternity pay or full paternity pay on day 2, you're going to say, nah, it's too big a risk. You'll outsource stuff, or you'll just take your smart, high-tech business, you'll take it elsewhere and grow it elsewhere. And that's what's happening. And that's why places like Dubai are absolutely booming. And the UK's economy is at best flatlining. I think the private sector is actually in recession. Our figures are only being propped up, frankly, by vast amounts of government spending paid for by vast amounts of government borrowing.
Yeah, and this conversation, I think, is not talked about because the way politicians sell it is, okay, we're for the people. But I was speaking to, I'm in property, like, you've been in property in the game as well. And I'm talking to on the floor construction workers, garden maintenance. And I have these conversations. I love talking. And these are small businesses. And there's a guy the other day, he's a gardener. He's got a guy who's helping him temporary. He goes, I can't make him permanent because I'm worried. And the problem is that young lad has not got the opportunity to get his, get on the foot on the step of the ladder, build up on it. And that's my biggest concern. And the problem is I feel the politicians are so out of touch. And do you agree with me that it's possibly because they've never run a business? And when you run a business...
Yeah, it's completely because they've never run a business. There's not a single person in the Labour cabinet, the people who make the big decisions, not a single one of them has run a business, has sweated whether or not they can make payroll at the end of the week or at the end of the month, has had to look at the P&L and the bank balance and make some difficult decisions. And what we're about is saying we need to make it easier for small businesses, traders, entrepreneurs. And the way to do that is actually really quite straightforward. Lift the VAT threshold from 90 grand, for example, to 150 grand. Get rid of things like IR35. And you shouldn't have any corporation tax on small businesses until they're earning profits of 100 grand a year, that sort of number. That way, they can reinvest the early profits into growing the business, because that's how you get more growth and more activity. And I was so sad the other day when I heard about a plumber who he had 15 lads on his books as a plumbing business doing great work in sort of Gloucestershire, Cotswolds area. It just became too much like hard work, and he just scaled right back. He said, I can't be bothered anymore. So he's back to 3. And that's now just a disaster, absolute disaster.
And the people don't realize the government is like a business. Yeah, they've got a budget, they've got to raise money, they've got to basically distribute it. And the basics of business is, come on, you need to spend less, you need to make more. And taxation, another thing. There's only so much, Richard, that even in your household, you can reduce costs. And before you just, you've got nothing else to scrape that money out from. It's all about growth. Now, reform, what would you do to grow the economy? Like if you were in the power and I said, right, Richard, right, tomorrow, you and Nigel, the party, are in power, what would you change? Obviously, you've got the, how could you turn it around so quickly? My concern is, in 4 years, I don't know where we're going to be. Another 4 years of this.
Yeah.
And that's my concern.
And that's, none of us do. We haven't got a crystal ball. It's hard to imagine it being any better, frankly. It's quite easy to fear that it could be somewhat worse. Let's hope not. But look, you can't tax your way out of a crisis, and we are in a crisis. You've got to grow your way out of a crisis. And the way to do that is threefold. Firstly, you've got to cut the vast amounts of wasteful, unproductive government spending and council spending that we see in so many walks of life. We see it every day. You think, oh, what a waste of money. Why are they bothering with that? It drives you nuts. And that's the key thing. And we're now controlling 10 councils in 2 months. We're just lifting the lid on the bonnet of their spending, and we're finding some absolute horror shows. I mean, sometimes the lads just want to like, oh, shut the bonnet shut. It's so scary. I mean, it's just, it's unbelievable. And the numbers are huge. So there's vast amounts that can be saved that we're going to be talking to people about over the coming months. The second thing, which actually costs nothing effectively, is to get rid of daft, unnecessary regulation. I mean, I would like any of your listeners or viewers to give me a compelling case why this thing called GDPR, which is one of the most boring, irritating nightmares ever developed in mankind, as far as I can see, that bugs us every day when you have to press accept cookies on your phone. What's the point of it? Who does it help? How does it grow our economy? It doesn't. It's a disaster. Sometimes you talk about being in the property business. When an old property is so knackered, there's no point refurbishing it. Just demolish it. Start again. GDPR. Scrap it. Get rid of it. Bin it. If you need anything on data, you could have a simple thing. You could say, folks, you can't sell anybody's data without their consent. If you want to use it internally, in various divisions, that's fine. I'll give you a mad example, Jay. So in my constituency, we've got a lovely big building. Half of it is a GP surgery. The other half of it is a pharmacy. All part of healthcare, very important. They both use the same computer system. You're delighted. You think that's very sensible. So they can talk to each other and everything can work seamlessly. Wrong. Although they use the same system, it's 2 different modules, and the modules are not allowed to talk to each other because of GDPR. And therefore, you go to the pharmacy, and there's piles and piles of old prescriptions. And you're thinking, hang on, this is the 21st century. So, yeah, there's things, simple things like that you just got to get rid of, and a whole bunch of others. In the city, they've got a thing called MiFID II. It's millions of paragraphs of garbage. Again, you can't tweak it or scrap a few paragraphs here and there. You've got to bin the whole lot and start again. Here's another example, right? Hong Kong, very successful, fast-growing economy. They've got a tax code of less than 500 pages. Our tax code's approaching 23,000 pages. It's 4 times the length of the combined works of Harry Potter, and a great deal less fun. So, if I want to set a challenge, how do I get a tax code of 500 pages? Is that possible? Just imagine if you didn't have to waste time employing accountants to get all the various allowances and tweaks and turns that politicians over the ages have developed and created. Those are the sort of things where we've got to have a real good look. Scrapping daft regulations not only is basically cost-free, but it is hugely growth generative, because it means you can spend your time focusing on on your core product, which is developing something that someone wants to pay you for.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not like we haven't got examples. You know in business, if you see a company like a competitor country, let's say, and you know they're doing well, you think of the mystery shopper. What you do, you go over there, watch what they're doing, you replicate it, but they don't want to look at places like Dubai or Hong Kong because it's going against what they think works. But come on, if something works, something works. So thank you for watching that video. If you want to see other videos and great guests, make sure you subscribe and like the video. So you can now head over to my website where you can see a bit of my story of building and scaling my businesses, and also all the free resources and tools which you can help you on your journey in your brand and your business. You can also subscribe on the podcast, so you can check on iTunes, Spotify and other locations where you can find the podcast. And I look forward to catching you very soon. Thank you.